Going back in time, nostalgic items from the 1960s needed for survival. In today's modern world, the word survival has a completely different meaning than it had in the 1960s. Back then, life was simple and people relied on certain items that today might seem like pure nostalgia, but they were once needed for survival. From rotary phones to vinyl records and Polaroid cameras to vintage lunchboxes, these weren't just items. They were symbols of life, the tools of the era. Let's travel back in time and look at the nostalgic items that were needed for survival at that time. 1. Rotary phone. Remember when making a phone call was a bit of an adventure? Today's kids might find it hard to imagine, but there was a time when dialing a number wasn't as easy as tapping a screen. Back in the 1960s, rotary phones were the norm, and each call required patience and a little bit of skill. You'd place your finger in the hole for each digit, spin the dial all the way around, and wait for it to slowly return before moving on to the next number. No speed dialing, no voice commands, just the satisfying rhythmic click and whirl of the dial as it spun back to its starting place. It wasn't the fastest process, and if you made a mistake, you'd have to start all over again. But there was a special kind of connection in the ritual of dialing each number. Every spin felt like a small accomplishment, each click adding to the anticipation of hearing the voice on the other end. Thinking back on it now brings a smile. It's a reminder of simpler times when even the smallest interactions were a little more intentional. 2. Coal furnaces. Imagine a world without the convenience of central heating. In the 1950s, coal furnaces were the heart of home heating systems, especially in colder regions. Coal replaced wood as the primary fuel for heating in the late 1800s, and by the 1960s, these massive octopus furnaces, as they were affectionately called, were in most American homes. Unlike today's gas or electrical heating, coal furnaces required homeowners to stoke the fire manually, a task that was labor-intensive but deeply satisfying. The warmth produced by these furnaces felt different, thicker, more robust, filling homes in a way that was comforting through the cold winters. However, the 1960s marked the end of the coal furnace era as gas and oil alternatives gained popularity. Coal furnaces became obsolete, but they left a lasting legacy of warmth and resilience. If you're enjoying watching the video, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our updates. 3. Carbon papers. In the days before digital copiers and printers, carbon paper was an essential tool for making copies. This ingenious invention allowed people to create duplicate documents with a single press. It worked simply. You'd place a sheet of carbon paper between your original document and a blank sheet. As you wrote or typed, the pressure would transfer ink from the carbon paper onto the blank page, producing an exact copy. Today, it's hard for younger generations to imagine a world without computers. But carbon paper was truly a game changer. Whether you were filling out forms, making receipts, or typing up reports, it enabled you to make multiple copies without the need to retype or rewrite everything. Of course, this process wasn't always perfect. Sometimes the copies would come out faint or smudged, leaving you with a messy desk covered in black smears. But despite these quirks, carbon paper made life a lot easier for anyone who needed copies in a pre-digital world. 4. Map and compass. The idea of traveling around the world looked very different in the 1960s. There was no GPS, no Google Maps, and no quick digital solution. If you wanted to go somewhere unfamiliar, you relied on a trusty map and a compass. Whether it was a family road trip, a camping adventure, or simply exploring a new town, a paper map and compass were must-have tools to get you where you needed to go. Maps were often tucked away in the glove compartment, waiting to be unfolded into large sheets that could take up half the car's front seat. They weren't always easy to read, and getting them folded back up, well, that was its own challenge. But using a map taught you important skills in navigation and geography, making you more aware of your surroundings and a bit more self-reliant. Knowing how to read a map and use a compass wasn't just about reaching your destination. It was about building a true sense of direction, a skill that was essential for getting by in a world without digital shortcuts. 5. Vacuum tube radios. Back before the days of endless streaming and instant access to shows, there was a special kind of magic in the air when families gathered around a vacuum tube radio. It wasn't just a device, it was the heartbeat of the home, pulling everyone together to listen to that latest news, music, or dramas. Developed by John Ambrose Fleming in the early 1900s, vacuum tube radios quickly became a household essential, creating an unforgettable listening experience with their warm, rich sound. The sound from these radios didn't just fill a room, it created an atmosphere. Each broadcast felt personal, as if the stories and songs were meant just for you. Families would settle down together, letting their imaginations soar along with the voices and music coming through the speakers. This was an era when entertainment required a bit of wonder and imagination, and in a way, that made it even more powerful. Even as the compact transistor radios took over in the 1960s, vacuum tube radios kept a special place in people's hearts. 6. Encyclopedia set. Before Google or Wikipedia, there was an encyclopedia set, a staple in every educated household. It held the answers to nearly any question and was a lifeline for students and curious minds alike. Encyclopedias were a huge investment, but well worth it. They offered a world of knowledge at your fingertips. A full set could cover everything from history to science to literature. For families without easy access to libraries, encyclopedias were the ultimate source of information, allowing children and adults alike to learn on their own. An encyclopedia set was as much a survival tool for the mind as any physical tool for the body. 7. Milk delivery. Imagine waking up every morning to the sight of fresh milk bottles waiting at your door, delivered by a familiar figure, the milkman. Long before grocery stores offered endless rows of milk cartons, milk delivery was a cherished daily tradition in the 1960s. For many families, the milkman was part of their morning routine, bringing fresh, cool milk in sturdy glass bottles right to the doorstep. This tradition started to gain popularity back in the late 19th century, especially as more people moved to cities and keeping a family cow became impossible. Glass bottles were chosen not only for their durability, but also for keeping milk fresher and cleaner, adding to the appeal of having milk delivered straight to the home. Each early morning delivery guaranteed families fresh milk for breakfast, a small but meaningful ritual that's still remembered with warmth today. However, as home refrigerators became more common and grocery stores grew to offer just about anything at any hour, milk delivery slowly disappeared. What was once a staple of everyday life is now a nostalgic memory, replaced by the convenience of modern shopping, but never quite forgotten. 8. Wringer washing machines. If you think laundry is a pain now, just imagine what it was like before automatic washing machines. In the 1960s, many homes used wringer washing machines, a technology that dates back to the 1840s. These machines didn't just wash your clothes, they required real effort. After clothes were washed, they had to be run between two rollers to wring out the water, a surprisingly physical task. Even when electric versions came around, it was still a full-body workout, and a lot of muscle was needed to squeeze out every drop. Despite the hard work, families appreciated these machines because they sped up drying times, especially for big loads. In a sense, laundry day was a team effort, bringing families together to help push clothes through those heavy rollers. After the 1970s, fully automatic washers became more affordable, gradually replacing the wringer machines and ending the era of labor-intensive laundry days. But for many, the wringer washing machine remains a nostalgic reminder of a simpler, if not tougher, time when chores truly took effort and often brought families closer. 9. Flashlight with batteries. In the 1960s, flashlights were a must-have in every home. Back then, power outages were common and reliable sources of light were limited. A flashlight was more than just a tool. It was a household companion. Imagine needing to check on the kids in the middle of the night or finding your way around a dark basement. In those moments, nothing was more reassuring than the sturdy beam of a flashlight. Unlike today's sleek LED models, the flashlights of the 60s were bulkier and less powerful, but they got the job done. They were powered by traditional batteries, which meant they weren't always at full brightness, yet they were dependable in emergencies. And for families with kids, flashlights weren't just practical, they brought a bit of fun. Late-night storytelling under the warm glow of a flashlight beam could turn any ordinary night into a cozy adventure. 10. Wing vents. Before air conditioning took over our cars, staying cool on a summer drive meant relying on a feature that might seem quaint today: wing vents. These small triangular windows on the front doors were introduced in the 1930s and became a mainstay through the 1960s, offering drivers and passengers a way to stay comfortable without fully opening windows. The wing vent was an elegant solution for hot days. By adjusting it, you could let in a gentle, refreshing breeze without the fuss of extra gadgets or buttons. For many drivers, this little ritual of opening the wing vent to feel the fresh air became a part of the driving experience, adding a sense of connection to the road and the outdoors. As air conditioning gained popularity in cars in the 1960s and 70s, wing vents slowly disappeared. But for those who remember, they represent an era when simple, clever designs brought comfort and convenience to daily life without relying on technology. It was a time when a little creativity made life on the road more enjoyable, even in the heat. While the world has changed dramatically, these pieces of history remind us of simpler times when life moved a little slower, and each task required a bit more effort and patience. Even though most of these items are no longer part of our daily lives, they continue to hold a special place in our memories. If you enjoyed watching the video, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, and check out more insights from our channel. Until next time, take care.